So patch 11.15 notes. Hello YouTube. This is gonna go on YouTube, so say hi to Twitch chat. Twitch chat, say hi to YouTube. Hopefully people are interested enough. This is the day of the patch, so if you're like logging in, you're like, holy crap, what does Raisins think? A lot of people are obviously doing that, I imagine. Then I'm gonna go 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just talk about what I think. Akshan's being released tomorrow, I think, according to my Twitch chat. Cool. Indian representation. That's cool. I'm happy with that, but we'll see. Hopefully he's not, his passive isn't turbo broken, the revive passive. YouTube is a scam? Maybe. We'll find out. Maybe when I start earning money from YouTube, it'll become a scam. Can't be scammed if you're earning nothing. Annie, her Q has been nerfed. Apparently, in skilled play, she was taking over. I actually have not played against a single Annie. So, okay, fair enough. But there's probably a couple of one tricks running around that are, you know, their win rates maybe were a little too high. Riot has the data. So Annie's been slightly nerfed. But you have to remember that 5 AP on a spell you spam a lot does kind of affect the champ a tiny bit. Aurelion Sol has been nerfed. I have seen Sol like once or twice in high elo. And because they buffed him, he was kind of pushing the boundary a tiny bit. So cool. And again, they probably had some data that he's broken. And I think when Aurelion is strong, unfortunately, the way the champ works, he's going to be really broken because his entire shtick is to just leave lane. He doesn't lane, he just pushes and roams. And that's really hard to balance. So, okay, cool. They nerfed his Q. They didn't nerf his mobility or his E or anything like that. Blitzcrank, some people were asking me, is Blitzcrank good now? And this doesn't change anything for Blitzcrank. Him having a little bit more damage and 3 more armor, it's nice. It's always like, it is a straight buff, but his matchups are still really like hit or miss. He either does amazing or he just doesn't do anything in lane. So he's still like a counter pick. You just pick him as a counter pick. So I think it's fine. I mean, it makes him more nice to pick as a counter pick in certain lanes because your Q now hits like a truck. And the ARAM crew is probably chilling because ARAM Blitzcrank is like buffed into Narnia now. Do these changes work in ARAM Twitch chat? Do these changes go to ARAM? They do, right? I'm pretty sure ARAM is just going to be nuts with how OP AP, full AP Blitz will be in ARAM. Anyway, Caitlyn buff. I was talking with my my friend Giblet a couple days ago about this patch and about this change in particular, and I was like, I thought it looked good, and he said it didn't look that good. So we'll have to actually see whether or not it's going to be a big deal. But the problem with Caitlyn's Q is like in a team fight or when I'm fighting with Caitlyn, I would never use Q, right? In the middle of a fight, why would I ever use Q like mid or late game rather than just auto attacking? Because it like my crits just deal more damage. So maybe now you would have to decide that you can actually Q instead of auto. I don't know, but it is a straight buff to her. So her laning phase and her wave clear is going to be a bit better. And Caitlyn is a little weak right now. She's just straight up weak. She gets outlaned and outpoked by a bunch of things. I think people are going to try her, and then the trying phase is going to be over, and then we're going to figure out whether she can actually lane again against all the popular ADs. She doesn't do good against stuff like Ziggs and things like that, in my opinion, which is popular right now. Cassio's been buffed. Cryptic in my chat today was like, hey, Cassio might be good bot lane 2v2. I think she's fine 2v2 bot lane in certain games, so she's a situational bot laner. I also think that like this is just a flat out buff to every single one of her roles, so like cool, I guess. She's underpowered champ. She's really difficult to play properly. She has insane scaling, but like it just has like you just get outplayed so easily if you're not careful. So I guess they need to buff her. Personally, I actually like laning against Cassio. It's really fun. Bot lane Cassio is really interesting to lane against. So you could potentially try her out. Gwen, please remove this champ. I'm kidding. This champ is like really obnoxious and overpowered in early game. So they're nerfing her early E. And she was like one of the strongest early laners in terms of level 1 ability. But then she starts to fall off and then she like spikes back up again when she hits 6 and when she gets her like Riftmaker and stuff like that. But cool, they're just nerfing her level 1. Like that's awesome. I'm happy. This champion is like when she kills you, you just disappear. You just blink and you're dead. I don't understand how this champ has so much damage sometimes. Like it's nuts. Also this champ, these two champs are the same thing in my opinion. In terms of like you just blink and you're gone. They overbuffed Aurelia like insanely hard. So a bunch of people who were analyzing patch notes, and I was watching some other people's patch notes rundowns and things like that. People were expecting this when they buffed Aurelia and they gave her like damage reduction, magic damage reduction on her W, because previously it only reduced physical damage. I was thinking like, whoa, this champion already lanes really well against mages, and now they've just given her damage reduction on her W against mages. Like that's crazy. So yeah, she was kind of OP. she was a bit insane. So they're nerfing her, straight nerf. They're just nerfing her W damage, they're nerfing her damage reduction. It's 10% on the top end. The physical damage is whatever. The magic damage is such a tiny nerf. Like, I feel like she's still going to be really strong because it's like a 5% nerf when you charge it up, I think. So like, oh no, it's at levels 1 to 18. So it's just a 5% nerf on the top end, like at high levels. But at low levels and mid levels, I don't think it's really going to be noticeable. But I feel like she's going to be fine, honestly. And she's really nuts right now, in my opinion. Aurelia's kind of nuts. Kayle, I've been seeing so much Kayle lately. Especially on my Smurf when I'm climbing on 80 carry, doing my 80 carry challenge. Platinum Elo, these guys love Kayle. Like, they love Kayle. But they always go like 0 and 10 in my games. So, but in high elo, I think I have not seen a tremendous amount of Kayle. I've seen like, because she gets punished harder in high elo. So you have to pick her in like, you can't blind pick her. You have to pick her in safer lanes. So cool. I guess she was a little overpowered in mid low elo, in my opinion. I think in high elo she was okay, to be honest. Like, she's just not a champion until 6. She's really, 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 really weak. EQ Kate auto Kate combo is good late. Yeah, true. True. Kennen, they buffed Kennen's damage. Cool. I mean, Kennen is kind of a champion that relies entirely on his burst. So if he doesn't have enough burst to be played, then he's never gonna get picked. But awesome. They just straight buffed his damage. Maybe some people will try him out. Cool. Mordekaiser, they've buffed Mordekaiser. Again, he's like really weak right now in terms of matchups, and there's a lot of items. His itemization is a bit wonky, and like enemy top laners, I think, just out-sustain him and outrange him in a lot of his matchups, it feels like, from my experience seeing Mordekaisers. And I barely see Mordekaisers nowadays because it's just weak. So cool. They just straight buffed his W. Like, you have your shield more, and you get more shield. So I mean, it's just a straight buff, I guess. Nidalee has been buffed. Awesome. This champion is played by like every single high elo jungler in the entire universe, and they all like love Nidalee, and they all spam Nidalee, and there's like 17,000 Nidalee one tricks in Challenger. So maybe Nidalee will start getting picked again. All the Nidalee players were playing Graves, and like Graves and Lee Sin. Those are the two champs those Nidalee players play, in my opinion. But now they maybe they try Nidalee again. These are pretty big buffs. 15 HP and then 10 health growth. So she's actually gonna start getting like a little bit chonkier. So we'll see if Nidalee players can actually make her work against some of the meta junglers, you know, like she does kind of get one tapped. She's very squishy, very high risk. Super fun to play though. They buffed Rel. In my opinion, Rel is just a sleeper OP. Well, not OP, don't quote that. She's not sleeper OP, she's just underrated. And I hope that this will make people actually start picking her against champions like Ali, against champions like Nautilus, against champions like even champions like Leona. You can play Rel pretty comfortably into, and it's like not a bad champion, but your team comp needs to fit it. If your team comp doesn't fit it, she feels useless. But hopefully people will start playing Rel again. I don't think she was actually like terrible. It's just nobody really seems to put a lot of games on Rel, and she takes a lot of time to learn. Rumble has been bug fixed. So I was reading these bug fixes, and I'll be honest, if someone could tell me more about this, like let me know. But there's a bunch of bugs that I didn't even know existed that they fixed. Fixed a bug where Rumble's heat would start decaying at inconsistent times. Like, I don't even know what that means. In terms of like, is that a good thing or bad thing, or just like, okay, was he abusing that? Rumble now immediately overheats upon reaching 100 heat. Apparently you could cast spells if you casted them fast enough. Like, that was a thing. So I don't know if someone could tell me whether or not the Rumble changes are good or bad. Maybe a Rumble one trick would know. These are a lot of bug fixes though. Shyvana has been buffed. Awesome, cool. Farming jungle meta maybe. Shyvana does like, you know, farming, and she needs a lot of DPS to farm, and her Q is a pretty solid tool to farm and also to rush drakes and things like that. So it's just a straight buff to Shyvana. I don't think she's going to be that popular though. Very niche kind of style of jungling right now. She doesn't offer her team a tremendous amount unless you need like hyper scaling late game AP poke champion, which is a bit niche. They have nerfed Sylas. Well, they nerfed his W and they pushed some of his damage to his Q again. So a lot of people have been maxing W on Sylas, is from what I can tell. Maybe they'll start maxing Q here. 10% more AP ratio and 10 more damage. Cool. Maybe they'll start maxing Q again. I think Sylas in solo queue is always going to be a relatively strong pick against certain champions like Alistar, like Nautilus, like champions with just massive Rs, obviously, you know, Rakan. Like, you're just gonna most of those are supports. Damn. Sylas is just a support counter. Feels bad. Anyway, yeah, I mean, he's gonna probably I still think there's gonna be games he maxes W, by the way, but maybe he'll max Q in certain matchups now. This is a change that actually is probably the most surprising out of the entire patch. So if you guys can see this, they have reverted the change they made in 10.13 to Syndra's mana cost. So I remember I was playing on a team This was my last split competitively, I think, on a team in 10-13. And the Syndra mana nerf change, okay, it removed her from the meta. Like, she was blind pick, blue side, first pick, first ban on blue side. Like, red team would always ban Syndra because she was just de facto the best champion. And like now, they've just reverted her Q. I feel like Syndra is going to be massive on this patch. I think. That's my expectation. I feel like there's just... That was the one thing keeping her down, in my opinion, her mana cost early game. But now she's just back to being like the best blind pick mid laner, or at least a really, really good blind pick mid laner, because her mana costs are like way better now. 20 mana costs off the first level 1 Q is huge. You can push your wave really hard. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. They nerf Thresh. What can I say? They nerf Thresh. There's really... I don't think it's like... I don't think it's a small nerf. I don't think it's a big nerf. It's kind of just like... shrug your shoulders. Certain matchups he'll get a little bit more punished because his flay will be down earlier, but yeah, I mean it hurts. 2 seconds nerf on an ability you don't scale with levels, so fair enough. It's a nerf to Thresh. He's still going to be like a very strong champion, but certain matchups I can think of, like Nautilus matchup where you need to use your flay to stop Nautilus from landing his auto attack after he hits you with his hook. That could actually potentially swing to Nautilus's favor now, because you're not going to have your flay up by the time he has his hook up. So yeah, I'll have to test it out though. I'll have to play some Thresh and figure it out. Viego has been nerfed. They have nerfed his laning phase, and they're trying to push him into the jungle. Cool. They're just taking away sustain from lane. Awesome. I'm all for this. He's going to have less damage on his Q, and he's going to have less healing from minions. So like, cool. Wukong has been nerfed. Apparently Monkey was strong. Cool. They're just lowering his health regen. It does seem like a pretty big nerf to his health regen though. That seems like a rather large amount of health regen nerf. But like, okay, cool. Wukong probably gets poked out of lane a tiny bit easier. They have decreased Zaya's R cooldown. This is awesome. Zaya's R cooldown was ridiculously long, by the way. It was massive. So like, kind of insane. This change is huge. Like 20 seconds level 1. 25 seconds level 2 and 30 seconds level 3. That's like a big change. So yeah, I mean, I could very, very reasonably see a lot of people picking Xayah. Rakan is also still a very playable support, so Xayah Rakan lanes can be stronger, and her ult is like a big part of her safety. If she doesn't have ult, she's actually very, very weak as a champion compared to other AD carries in a lot of ways, because she's diveable. She's really diveable without ult. So Hullbreaker, I don't see this item built, so I'll be 100% honest. If I start seeing this item built, I'll start giving you some opinions on it, but like, yeah, I just don't think it's that great an item right now. Its cost effectiveness, its gold effectiveness has gone up, like cool, I guess, but you only start getting them at level 9, it looks like. So, but I mean, besides that, I just don't see the reason why you would buy this item over another item right now. Like, I don't see many champions who would want to buy this item over another item. Split push is just not a popular style right now. Most games just turn into 5v5s around Dragon, 5v5s around Baron, and this item is not what you want in those situations. So anyway, Pog, Ultimate Spellbook updates, and yeah, that is it. There are a couple of skins which I'm going to look at on stream now, but that is it. That is the patch notes. So thank you for watching, appreciate it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I stream every evening on Twitch, 8 p.m. So come watch me, you nerds. If you're not watching me, why aren't you watching me? Also hit that subscribe button, and if you're on Twitch, go subscribe to my YouTube. Thank you for watching. Cool.